What's up, family? Welcome to the Yo Bros Podcast, the show that brings three brothers together to talk about three topics in games, movies, and comics. If you'd like to be part of our family, then head on over to YoBrosPodcast.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, rate us on iTunes and other podcast services. So really quickly, my name's Dustin.
I'm Forrest.
And I'm Cody. And we are three brothers. We are born and raised in San Diego, California. We are children of the 80s and 90s. We enjoy all of the movies, superhero flicks, action flicks that have been coming out lately. I'm a big comic book reader. Dustin reads and Forrest reads some comics as well. We all play video games. We all like those same kind of television shows. And we typically will get together on weekends and talk about some of these stuff. And we just wanted to bring some of that conversation to you, the people. So those of you who are actually listening to this show, I don't know why, but welcome. Welcome. We're glad to have you along for the ride. And this is a conversation show where we're just going to be kind of talking about all the things that we love in pop culture, and we hope that you enjoy.
Yes, and really quickly, we want you guys to be part of our community. So if you're going on our YouTube channel or anything like that, leave us questions, leave us comments there. We'd love to hit you guys up and talk about what you guys want to talk about too. So really quickly, Cody undersold himself. He is the master of comics. He knows more about that than any person I know. So any comic questions, we will direct those directly to Cody because he is our expert.
I read too much.
Yes, that is true. So one thing I want you guys to know is we are going to be spoiling the heck out of some of these movies, shows, comics, video games. So if you get to a topic, we're most likely going to spoil it, and we'll let you know we're going to spoil it. So with that said, Forrest.
Hello.
Have you seen Batman v Superman?
I have not, and I probably won't.
Well, good, because
we're going to spoil it.
We're going to spoil the heck out of that one for you. So really quickly, were you excited to see this movie?
I was for a while. I was probably a bit more excited to see Suicide Squad, but around the time that Batman vs. Superman was released, I kind of lost the will to go and see it, especially when I wasn't able to see it with my family and friends. Since everyone has already...
That's weird how that happened, huh?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, school will kill your joy of comic book movies for sure. So, I was unable to see it with you guys, unfortunately, so I'm ready to get it spoiled completely.
Then after that happens, can we go and see it with you together?
Sure, yeah. Spoil it first, and then we'll go see it.
Beautiful.
So that's the way movies are nowadays anyway. We'll just all have somebody talk about it, and then we'll decide if we want to see it later.
That's how movies should be experienced.
I had a student of mine come in. I'm going to spoil the hell out of Star Wars The Force Awakens right now, so if you haven't seen it in the last 3 months, this is your fault. A student of mine walks into the room and says, "Hey, Mr. Jenkins, have you seen Star Wars yet? Han Solo dies."
Yes.
I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky that I saw it. Yes, and don't you ever do that again.
I had a 6th grader do that. I'm like, what are you doing?
You should have had it written on the board, like when the students came in.
Just Star Wars, no talk.
Do not talk.
So jumping on back to the Batman v Superman, what were you guys' more so directed to your Cody? What was your expectation going into that movie?
My expectation was that it was going to be a Zack Snyder movie. Mm-hmm. There has been so much talk about how he wanted to kind of bring a very, very serious tone to the movie. Mm-hmm. How, there wasn't going to be a whole lot of jokes. And even like looking at some of the promotional stuff, all of the commercials and things like that, Batman and Superman both have the same look on their face. Mm-hmm. I mean, very, very serious, very, very dour, just kind of like angry and pissed off, which really works for Batman. And I'm not sure how much it really works for Superman.
Yeah.
And granted, I really am one of those people who loved Man of Steel. So I'll get that out of the way right now. I thought Man of Steel, it was a lot of great action in it. I thought there was a lot of great emotional moments in that movie. I think there was just some of the fight sequences and things like that were just incredible. And so I was looking forward to this movie. But I did feel like even in Man of Steel, there were some things that were missing. For example, I wish that Superman would just smile a little bit more. I wish the guy would have a little bit of fun. You know what I mean? There's something just inherently charming about the Superman story and about him, being able to fly, for goodness sakes. Hey, you're having a good day, man. Smile, you're flying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he had a few brief moments of that in Man of Steel. There wasn't really any of that I saw in any of the commercials for Batman versus Superman or anything like that.
Yeah.
And so I was a little hesitant. Granted, but on the other hand, you know what? This is a Batman movie. I mean, there's a reason why it's called Batman v Superman, right? This is kind of the Man of Steel sequel that Ben Affleck is just kind of stealing. And so, given that, you can forgive it for being a little bit darker, a little bit more serious in tone, and a little bit more pessimistic. And so I came in there with the expectation that it was kind of going to be that. I didn't know how much of that we were going to get. I was hoping that somewhere in that movie we would have some Superman moments where he was actually like smiling and standing up for truth, justice, and the American way. I guess we'll talk about whether or not that actually happened or not.
So is there a glimmer of hope for a blue Boy Scout in the future, perhaps, or even within this movie? Because I would like to see that smiling Superman for sure. It's the one I love, personally.
Spoilers, he dies at the end of the movie.
Oh, well. All right. I'm glad I know that ahead of time.
But the dirt did start floating off of his casket in the very last shot of the movie, so you're going to get to see probably him get resurrected. They tried to throw so much of the stuff into this movie, and so this was one of the things that I kind of had a hard time with in this movie.
Did he really die?
We'll find out.
Okay.
I'm making all of this up, Forrest.
Come on, Forrest. Come on, gotta watch the movie. No, really quickly, before we go into the actual part of the movie, with the expectations, I was at H Hall in San Diego Comic-Con when they showed their initial trailer, and I don't know, it didn't really do it for me. It looked cool, it looked entertaining, but it wasn't, I don't know. I hate to compare it to a Marvel movie where it's like getting you pumped up for seeing it and everything. It's just like, oh, all right, well, they're kind of fighting. We don't know this Batman character. We don't know their history. And you brought that up to me. Why the reason The Dark Knight was so intense was because the comic book, the Frank Miller one, is because they had so much history before they started battling each other, where this, there's just like two people fighting.
Yeah, in the books, for those of us who don't know, The Dark Knight Returns is a very, very classic Batman book written in the 1980s, written and drawn by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson. And in that story, you see a Batman of the future who has essentially become kind of worn down. He's semi-retired, and he's essentially kind of given up his war on crime, and feels fairly defeated. And I got a huge sense of that in this movie as well. That this is a Batman who is realizing that all of his hard work has basically been for nothing. And that, he's kind of turned to more brutal methods. He's angrier. He's more frustrated. He's realizing that he maybe hasn't really made much of a dent in the world. And even says in the movie, like, hey, by bringing down Superman, this might be the only important thing I ever do. I thought a lot of those moments in the movie were fantastic.
Yeah.
But when he does fight Superman in the book, there's, some, 25 years or whatever it is of history, fictional history, behind these characters where, they have been friends for much of their life and they have fought together. And so their differences in ideologies puts them at odds with each other. And these are two characters that really don't want to fight each other, but they're forced to because the circumstances of the book kind of pit them against each other.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that we really saw enough of that. I don't think it was earned enough in the movie Batman v Superman. They're coming out of each other as adversaries, which is fine, and I can see the reason why they wouldn't trust one another. But to have them actually come to blows and to have them actually come this close to killing one another, I'm not sure I really bought that. I would have actually preferred that the fight got cut off earlier. Because the more exciting moment in the movie for me was when they decided, oh wait, we're not really enemies, let's go team up and fight Doomsday. And that to me was way more fun. It's kind of like okay when the heroes fight each other. I get it. There's some appeal to that because it's a rare thing that you don't really see that often. But man, isn't it much more fun to see them team up?
Yeah, definitely.
So what are Batman's intentions in fighting Superman? Because from the way you made it sound, it kind of sounds like he's like some Birdman type of character, like a starving artist looking to kind of make his way back in the game. Like what was his intention in fighting Superman?
Well, in the movie, I mean, again, Superman is an alien that they're not sure if they should trust, right? This is a movie that takes place after Man of Steel. One of the things that, fans criticized in the Man of Steel was just the amount of destruction and chaos that happened at the end of that movie with him fighting Zod and, a lot of kind of 9/11 overtones with the end of that movie with buildings coming down and all of that kind of stuff. And so the question became for Batman, hey, if this guy has the ability to kill us all and, destroy the planet, shouldn't we stop him?
Yeah.
As even a preemptive measure, who knows who this guy is? And he didn't know a thing about Superman, and he didn't really know who he was or anything like that. And so he was basically preparing to stop this god who's come down to Earth and, made life miserable for men, too. One of the things also in this movie was there was this big debate about, whether or not people should trust Superman, which is a really interesting debate if they show both sides of it.
Yeah.
And I felt like in the movie they only showed one side, which is, no, he's dangerous.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
I felt like they showed him, because he kept doing all those God-type things, saving the space shuttle from blowing up, rescuing the people from the fire or from the flood and stuff. Like those little montages when the senator lady's speaking. He's going around saving people, though.
The amount of screen time that they get that they dedicate to that, though, is seconds compared to how many minutes or how much time did they spend talking about how dangerous and whether or not they should trust him. You know what would have made it much better is if when he was saving the space shuttle, if they actually had an action sequence attached to it,
where
Superman is zooming in and he's flying through the flames and everything like that, and he's rescuing the astronauts, and something a little bit more heroic and uplifting. Otherwise you just see him kind of lifting up the space pod and putting it down, which is all well and good, but that's the end of it. I would have rather seen something a little bit more exciting.
Okay.
What was the Superman from 2006, 5? Because that one kind of had more Returns. Of the... Yeah, that one definitely kind of had more of the everyday menial heroic tasks that Superman undergoes, such as saving the plane when it's falling out of the sky, and saving who was it? I think I forget who it was, but when he picks up the car,
Oh yeah.
So that one
Parker Posey, yeah.
There you go. That one definitely had more of the heroic everyday tasks that Superman does, and that kind of gave him more character, I think. So there was a lack of that, you would say, in this movie.
Yeah, people call him as a cardboard cutout in this movie. He's very, I don't know.
Yeah.
Super strict boy, no smiles. He did jump in the tub with Lois. That was the happiest thing he did.
Ooh.
But
yeah, was it steamy?
It was super steamy. Water overflew everywhere and everything.
It was splashing.
It was splashing, yes.
He took his glasses off.
I know. I was like, whoa, who is this? Oh.
Were there bubbles?
There's many bubbles.
There were no bubbles.
Oh, all right.
No bubbles.
Good.
No, I saw it twice. Yeah, there was no bubbles.
So anyways, that was the most, I don't know, human thing he did.
Yeah.
So we kind of already started into this path, so I guess let's jump into it with total spoiler alert about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The movie had really cool scenes. It had really cool setup, I felt like, but there were so many gaps in it. I look back and I'm like, what was the coolest part of this movie? And the parts were setup. So for instance,
bath scene with Lois was pretty awesome.
Yeah, of course, yeah. But okay, so Bruce Wayne's on a mission to destroy Superman. He doesn't like him, and his whole thing is he can wipe out the entire race. All he's doing is saving people. So what he does is Lex Luthor finds kryptonite. Batman steals the kryptonite and makes a bunch of gas weapons. But it's this huge giant rock, and he makes 4 grenades. I'm like, okay, what happens when you run out of those 4?
Yeah, right.
Make a spear.
Oh god, I wish he did. He made a spear. So anyways,
did he have the kryptonite brass knuckles?
No, he had the kryptonite spear and the kryptonite grenades. That's what he used, which was enough.
Yeah, it's still decent.
Oh, it's like Superman, just fly away. He's like, no, I'll just keep walking towards you.
Yeah,
it was, I don't know. Okay, so for me, I'm taking this from a different approach with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Cody wants Batman and Superman not to fight, and he wants them to team up right away. Where I was it's this whole build-up. The movie's all set up of Batman hating Superman. They finally battle, and it's at the very end, and it's 3 minutes long. If that. And it's all right, well, it's more I don't know. It's a Batman v Superman. It's Batman angry Superman.
Yeah.
It's that's all it is him Mrr.
And all the promotional material was kind of dedicated towards that scene, I feel.
Yeah, and pretty much all of it the majority of it was shown.
Lame.
Yeah. I felt no shocking.
Is that part cool where he grapples away from Superman's laser vision?
Oh, that's not his Superman's laser vision. It's Doomsday's laser vision. It's so stupid.
Dang it.
I know, these classic scenes oh, it's so cool. Oh, wait. No.
Does Doomsday have laser vision in the comics?
No.
Ooh. It's one grade off.
He's a Kryptonian, though. The way they created Doomsday in this movie was they took Zod's corpse and Lex Luthor kind of implanted his own genetic material on there, and they kind of created this atrocity, which is a Kryptonian mixed in with human DNA, and they make this strange creature. It wasn't really explained all that well, and it didn't need to be, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think that one of the central problems with this movie is that you're right. There was a lot of build-up. There's essentially 2 hours of build-up. Because I counted before Batman and Superman start squaring off with each other, there's really 2 action scenes. There's the Batman car chase when he's going after the kryptonite and
which was cool,
flipping over cars, and that was really cool. Yeah. I enjoyed that. And then there was the scene at the very, very beginning, which was the destruction of Metropolis, which is just kind of Bruce Wayne saving a girl from a falling building. And, he looks up in the sky and he sees Superman and Zod fighting each other. And that was something we had seen before, really.
I personally, that was my favorite part of the movie, is that intro. When I saw this, I'm like, this is sweet. So Forrest, the opening scene is, the Superman fighting Zod.
Yeah, the recap.
And, you just see the laser going through the buildings and tearing apart. And, like, was that Wayne Towers? Like a Metropolis Wayne Towers? Or...
Yeah, which should not be confusing to people. People were like, "Why is that there?" I'm like, hello, like, how many cities do you see a Wells Fargo building?
Right. So it's like a Wayne Tech building in Metropolis, and like he's just running towards it and stuff, and you just see like Superman like flying through like the buildings and shooting lasers. That was sweet. And so like you see in the commercial like Batman running through the smoke with the buildings. That was that.
Yeah, that looked like one of the coolest parts to me.
That was really cool. Well. I really like that one. So yeah, that part was awesome, but there's not enough of those moments because then they'll drag stuff on for a very long time, and I just feel like it's plot holes. Not plot holes, but the pacing's so off. It's just lots of talk, lots of walking around, and then these short little bursts of fight scenes. I think there should have been like 1 or 2 more fight scenes in there, which would have made it a little better for me.
Go on. Okay, from the way it sounds like it's lacking kind of the joy of the Marvel movies, which is like that sense of adventure and
so if it's a different approach, that's fine. So like Watchmen, directed by Zack Snyder too. For me, it had a very linear approach, a very linear storyline where it's all going towards one thing. And even the Nolan Batman movies, here's a story, here's what's going on. For me, it's like, well, where is this even leading to? Like, what's the motivation?
Yeah.
Where's it? It's not a focused story. And for me personally, that's what I really like with movies in general. Like, totally off topic, but Dredd, get to the top of the building and shoot people. That was awesome for me. For this, it's just like all over the place.
Yeah.
So like my initial reaction coming out of this movie, like, oh yeah, it was super cool, lots of action, it was good, not great. And now I'm more like on the okay.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hate it. It's not as bad as the 29% of Rotten Tomatoes that it's getting, but
yeah. So are the bad reviews warranted? Is it really as bad as the critics are saying? Because I was kind of worried beforehand.
No. If you go into like, oh, I want a popcorn flick, I want to see Batman and Superman on screen, you'll be like, yeah, it was pretty cool, it was good. I don't know what the fuss is, but when people are like, oh, what are the motivations? Why are these people fighting? What is the anger? You know what I mean? When they're trying to dissect it, that's the type. So it depends on the mindset you go into.
Sure.
I've got to disagree with Dustin on something here. Where he's saying that the movie was kind of all over the place. I thought it was super focused. I thought the movie was absolutely 100% about Superman and the way people view him, the way he views humanity, and the interactions between the rest of the world and him. I totally understood that. The problem is that while the movie was absolutely about Superman, I feel bad for Henry Cavill because they didn't give him anything to do.
Yeah.
For the movie basically being about, should we trust this guy who's different than us, and should he trust us?
Right.
He was an absolutely 100% passive player in the entire thing. During the entire movie, Superman just kind of felt sorry for himself. He had this look on his face like he was totally down and defeated. Nobody likes me. That kind of thing. And so, he would retreat to his, bathtub with Lois, and there wasn't anything for him to really do. You saw him saving people. You saw the aftermath of that. I think something that would have solved a lot of problems in this movie is give us something fun to root for about Superman.
Yeah.
I don't mind the movie being super serious. I don't mind it being, different than the Marvel movies. That's totally fine. And frankly, if Batman's in the movie, it should be more serious and it should be darker.
Yeah.
But give us something to root for about Superman other than him just floating above people like Jesus. Let us show him flying into the burning building. Let us see him flying in and grabbing the rocket and doing all, Superman kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think they really missed an easy scene for that, even though I think your idea would have been better, actually going in and seeing him save these people and the emotional part. I thought they were going to do that. So he gets brought in, he gets called like, oh, come to Washington, talk in front of the Senate and stuff about your actions and whatnot.
That would have been such a cool moment to hear him talk.
Yes. So
did he talk?
This is what happens. He walks in. You've seen it. The lady on the commercials, the lady who goes in and talking, the senator lady who's talking about like, oh, you're going to be called for your actions, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Okay, so he goes into the Senate, and the lady starts talking, starts mumbling, and Superman's just standing there, like, ready to talk. And then Lex Luthor planted a bomb in there and it blew up the whole Senate.
It's so lame.
So it's just like, give him a
After
chance.
she sees a jar full of piss.
So it would have been so cool, like, if he would have actually talked and, like, in the middle of his speech,
Yeah.
then it blown up, like, oh, you know, but that was a sweet scene, though. So everything's on, like, blown up, everyone's dead, and then he's just sitting there with this, like, beat up look on his face, like, oh, God.
It's the same look he had on his face the entire movie.
That is true.
He sounds
You
like
know?
just some little kid feeling sorry for himself. I mean,
Kinda. He did go to his mom and complain for a little bit.
You know, and that was really, I think, the biggest problem with the movie. On the flip side of that, can we talk about some positives now?
Yeah, so is any more negatives you want to talk about before we get... Yeah, I want to jump in a few... Let's keep it negative, and then we'll jump into all the positives.
Okay.
Keep it consistent. All right.
I'm giving this movie an overall positive review, by the way. So if it sounds like we're just bashing on it for the last 15 minutes, be patient.
I'm giving a okay to good. Next thing... Wait, all right, what was your thoughts on Lex Luthor?
I liked him. He was one of the positives.
Oh, I hate it. He's one of the annoyings. Okay, so let's start with him. So I come with a lot less background comic book knowledge. So a lot of it's from the cartoons, some of it's from the comics. But for me, it just did not hit the mark. Like, you have this really super smart Lex Luthor, who's too over the top for me, who is going after Superman because I have no idea.
Well, I think that, number one, having background knowledge on it, I think, kind of detracts people from this movie. So you're probably even better off than someone like me who has a lot of background knowledge on Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
But I kind of just decided to put away a lot of those preconceived notions about who he is and what his character is. They were going for a different take on Lex Luthor, which is fine. He's a younger version of Lex, obviously. He's seems to have kind of a little man complex, inferiority complex. Someone who looked like, was beat up and bullied when he was younger. He even made a few comments about it, his father beating on him when he was younger. And he was a guy who hated anybody who was more powerful than him, because anybody who was more powerful than him made him feel powerless. And that's the one thing that he felt like he wanted in this movie, was to feel powerful and to feel dominance over others. And so, he was a twisted little SOB who wanted to bring down the biggest bully on the planet, which in his mind was Superman.
So one thing they made Batman look like a dummy in this too. Like, he didn't get any of the clues that Lex Luthor was leaving for him and stuff. And it's like, I don't know, I feel like Batman, might have figured that out.
But Batman already had his own feelings about Superman. All that did was reinforce it.
Yeah.
I don't think that he went after Superman solely because, there were these checks with, mysterious messages written on them. Mm-hmm. I think it was more about, given the fact that whether it was Superman who blew up the Senate building or not, it obviously wasn't, because if he wanted to kill people in the Senate, he just would have done it with his heat vision. He wouldn't have planted a bomb.
Yeah.
He was the magnet. He was the reason why that happened.
Yeah.
And whether it was him who actually did it or somebody else who did it because he was there, Superman was a problem.
So another thing I didn't get, so at the end, so what happens is Lex Luthor basically pushes Lois off the top of a building. She screams, Superman saves him, and he comes up, he's like, I'm going to destroy you. He's like, actually, I got your mom, and I'm going to kill her if you don't kill Batman. And that was the motivation of Superman going to find Batman.
Oh, that's why they fought?
No, Batman wanted to fight him.
That's why Superman fought him?
Yeah, that's why Superman went over there.
So what was Superman going to do?
He's going over there, like, hey, Bruce, I need your help. And then Batman's like, get out of here. And throws gas in his face.
Really?
Yes, that's pretty much what happened. He's like, no, wait, listen. And then Batman just goes and beats him up.
That's great.
If I wanted to kill you, I would. And he throws more gas in his face.
Shut up, peasant.
Pretty much.
I liked that scene. I like that he called him Bruce. I like that he was kind of walking up to him and trying to reason with him. And Batman, being the stubborn old man that he is, absolutely wasn't hearing it.
How did he know he's Bruce, by the way? Just
look through his mask, I'm assuming.
He figured it out the moment that they were at the party.
Yeah, makes
earlier
sense.
in the movie, when Batman was listening on the radio and Alfred was telling him where to go so that he could plant a bug in Lex Luthor's home. Mm-hmm. Clark Kent was listening in on that kind of radio conversation.
That was pretty cool, actually.
And so he just looked right over and be like, oh, that's Bruce Wayne.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
So then the last thing I'm going to say is, while Wonder Woman looked impressive and really cool, that fight scene at the end just did not do it for me.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard anything about Wonder Woman yet.
Okay, so everyone was saying, I do like they didn't do any hand-holding. It's kind of this mysterious Woman. You know, you see like a black and white photo of her in her Amazon gear.
Right.
The fight consisted of them like meeting up at the end and fighting Doomsday, who I thought looked not as bad as he did in the trailers, but he didn't do it for me. He didn't look great. The CGI, I don't know, the overall look just didn't do it for me.
He looked like a Ninja Turtle, kind of.
He looked like more Bizarro to me. And whether it's Bizarro or Doomsday doesn't really matter, but I don't know. Then he just like shows up out of nowhere, comes out of the space Superman space shuttle, and then like just starts fighting Superman. And the beginning part, so Superman picks him up and just starts knocking him into space, which is pretty cool. And then the United States shoots a nuke at him.
Oh, at Doomsday?
At Doomsday and Superman.
Crazy.
So Superman's just like floating up there with his face melting off, basically. That was pretty cool. But I don't know, he's like fighting like on Riker Island. It's like, oh, it's abandoned. Don't worry, no one's gonna die. Oh, you know, because that was a big complaint in the other one. But I didn't like. So
By the way, I didn't think they needed to do that.
Yeah.
Screw it. If there's people down there, oh well, get out of the way. You know what I mean?
So
it's even more ridiculous in Avengers movies when it's like, oh, we're lifting this whole city. No, don't worry. We are going to spend 30 minutes evacuating everybody.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to get hurt, people. You know what I mean? That's just as ridiculous.
Yeah.
Or aliens attack New York City. No one got hurt. Really? No one got hurt?
So one thing I could not believe is Hans Zimmerman was the person who did the music, and he did Interstellar and other really awesome movies like
the
that.
Dark Knight trilogy.
Yes, and I could not stand the music in this movie.
Really?
Yeah, like every time it was freaking...
You are wrong.
Every time freaking Wonder Woman came up, it was like this, I don't know, this electric guitar, Middle Eastern music, and I'm like, I don't know, and it's like that's like the main scene, and that was
Sounds pretty cool.
okay. My personal opinion. So Cody loves it.
What's wrong?
Well, me obviously.
Defend your position.
Yeah.
Out of my house, guys. I'll do nothing of a sort. So the other thing that I could not stand is okay. So in Avengers 1, the moment that gave me chills is when they're all like back to back to back, and they're doing that 360 panoramic view.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be all three of them, the Trinity, in the movie, and they showed it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like that big of a pump up moment for me. It's like, oh yeah, they're all here. There was no reason to show Wonder Woman in the movie.
Yeah.
Or in the trailer, excuse me.
Right.
In the trailer. That could have been a total surprise for me. I'm like, oh, that's
And it
awesome.
should have been.
Or if you wanted to show her, she's many times in civilian clothes. Just show that, and people will know who it is.
Mm-hmm. What about
No, I don't think they would know.
Well, they'll figure it out then. No one's going to this movie, oh, I'm seeing it just for Wonder Woman. They're going to see it anyways.
Well,
Okay, you get that 3% of people?
I think there were a lot of people who were excited to see her.
I'm sure I was excited to see her too. I thought she was a great part of the movie, but there's no reason why I do not believe her being in the movie sold it more, where people were then, oh, I'm going to see it now just for Wonder Woman. I'm probably wrong on that, but you know what I mean?
If it was a Batman Wonder Woman movie and you took Superman out of the movie, do you think it would have been more fun?
Yeah, and that goes on a different thing. I think they should have
so
had
there you go.
Well, I think Wonder Woman for the start should have been their Black Widow, where she's just in a bunch of movies beforehand. Like, I do not think they should have started with this movie. I think they should have had a solo Batman movie and had Wonder Woman be in it.
That would have been cool.
All their interaction that they had in this movie, they could have been in just a Batman movie. With that said, I think that's all we can say about the negatives. Overall, like I said, I did like the movie. So let's go ahead and start about some of the positives, okay? So Cody, kick us off.
Well, I'm going to disagree once again with some of the negative things that we've said about Wonder Woman so far. I thought Wonder Woman was probably the best part of the movie. I mean, every time that she was on screen, the scene got way more interesting. I mean, some of my favorite scenes in the movie were the party scene at Lex's house and the ending when she shows up in costume and starts like whooping butt on Doomsday.
I didn't mind her being in the movie. It made me upset that she was in the trailers.
Yeah, and I could see that too. But at the same time, I'm mostly upset at the trailers for showing everything that was interesting in the movie.
That's true.
It wasn't just Wonder Woman who was like the exciting part of those trailers. Mm-hmm. You know, when you're talking about like the Comic-Con footage that we saw, last year, I thought that was a fantastic, kind of sizzle reel. Mm. The unfortunate part is that sizzle reel showed almost everything that was awesome in that movie.
That
and so,
true.
Some of the most, and by awesome, I mean some of the, fantastic action sequences and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, that's one of the things that I was kind of looking at as far as, I wish they kind of held back on some of those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot played a fantastic Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. I thought that, she was really, really fun and interesting. I love that they showed the lasso, that she was using it. I love this little like moment where she gets knocked down by Doomsday and then she kind of like looks up and smiles.
Yeah, that
like
was
she's the
sweet.
one character in the movie that's having fun. Like she's
Yeah.
the one character who like, yes, like bring it on, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that was just an awesome moment, and I wish that there was a little bit more of that from all three of those main characters.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I thought she was fantastic. I also loved all of the Batman stuff.
Batman was sweet.
Everything from the way he looked to, you know, kind of the way he carried himself as Bruce Wayne. I loved Alfred. I loved that whole idea of, you know, some real bad stuff went down and Wayne Manor has just been basically bombed out and he's like living on the guest house on the lake, you know, with his like, you know, random, you know, girl in bed with him.
When did that happen? What happened to this mansion?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Oh.
You see the Robin costume and it says like the joke's on you, Batman, ha ha ha, like the Joker
part was
spray
sweet.
painted something on the Robin
Yeah,
costume.
that was in the previews.
There was all kinds of like
course it
graffiti
was.
I know.
where he goes and you know, kind of like prepares to do battle with Superman. You see a lot of like Joker and Riddler graffiti all over the place. So
Riddler?
like some bad stuff
Yeah.
like happened in Gotham City, and now like the docks are all abandoned and stuff like that. So I think that everything about Batman, I thought there was a lot of great Batman stuff in there. In fact, I thought this was a really, really good Batman movie.
For me, when I saw that stuff, it leaves a lot to be wanted that I want to see. Like a lot of mystery. It's like, you know, when you see stuff, it's like, oh, that's dumb, or like, oh, that's cool. Like when I saw that, I'm like, this is really cool, and I want them to explore more into it. That's
Yeah.
why I really want a solo Batman movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so that part was cool. What were we gonna say, Phil?
A lot of the criticism before the movie was in the casting of Ben Affleck as Batman. So
I think it's the best one.
I always thought he would be a cool Batman. I think he looked like a good Bruce Wayne. So what are your thoughts on Affleck as Batman? Are they...
I think he's a dead ringer for Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And even just like the way he was just super like buff and physical, like in the costume. I mean, he looked like Batman. They made the costume in a way too, where he could actually like move around and he could, you know, throw punches and do flips and everything else that you kind of imagine Batman doing, or that you've seen him done on the comic book page. Now he's actually doing in the movie, and it's not like one of those situations where he can't turn his head or something like that. He's actually like able to kind of be this big physical, like, you know, brute.
Yeah.
That kind of that he is. I was laughing with Dustin earlier because I brought up Batman the Animated Series, which I think probably to a lot of us is kind of like the definitive Batman that we kind of like had in our head growing up. Mm-hmm. And if you look at Bruce Wayne in that cartoon and then you put it side by side with a picture of Ben Affleck, it's the same freaking guy. You know,
Yeah.
It's the
They look
same
very
guy.
similar.
It's the same guy.
The chin.
Yeah, I mean, just all of it. you know.
Square jaw.
Oh yeah. And then he just kind of carries himself as Bruce Wayne, as like this playboy, and you know, a little cocky, and a little bit, kind of, a bit overly sure of himself, and that kind of thing.
A little
I mean,
roguish, a
little bit of that, and there's a little pompous, and kind of those qualities that you would notice in a guy who's a billionaire.
sweet.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was a sweet. So I want to talk about my favorite part of the movie. It was a dream sequence. So Bruce has like these random dreams throughout the movie.
What? I hated that. I didn't get it.
Well, read the comics. So it was so cool. He shows up, right, and this is the in the commercial, like it's like all those people in the sand.
Yeah.
And he has a jacket. So that's a dream sequence, and he like gets out of his like little bunker or whatever, and you see the Omega symbol burnt into the ground, and they got the fire tube shooting up.
Fire
everywhere.
pits.
Oh, really?
The fire pits, and like the
Nice.
city's all destroyed. And then so he goes down. He's Batman's like a general, and he's about to like talk, and then all of out of nowhere, like his men like turn on him and start shooting his other men.
Oh, really?
And they have the Superman patches on, and then all of a sudden all these parademons start flying down. And Superman just comes there and he's like, "Where is he?" And then he just starts using his lasers and lighting people on fire. It was really cool. It was
Sounds
really
cool.
cool. Oh, that part was sweet. So
That's the part where you see Batman like chained up,
Yes.
to the ceiling, and
Yes, and he has
okay.
two other people next to him. Oh, when he gets his like hood taken off.
Yeah.
And it was straight from Injustice, where then he like gets his heart ripped out from Superman. I felt like
Wait. In the movie, did he kill Batman right there?
in the dream.
In the dream he did.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So then that was going on, and then he like wakes up from the dream. And he's like sitting, and then all of a sudden, like I assume it was the Speed Force opens up, and it's a flash. He's like, "Whoa!" It's like you can barely hear anything, but they made you hear exactly what you wanted to hear. It's Lois is the key. You're right about Superman, like all this stuff, and you see Flash. It was hard. I don't know. When you saw it the second time, could you see Flash better, or they knew it was coming, or was it still kind of hard to see?
Well, I knew it was him the first time I saw it.
More so like because I can't really remember his outfit. I just remember
Yeah.
his more military looking, more like armored looking.
Well, he had like an exosuit over his like typical Flash costume. So there was this kind of like metallic helmet that opened up, and inside the helmet was him in the mask.
Got it.
So I guess like he had like a suit kind of protecting himself from the Speed Force, and then he pops out. There's still a lot of like bright white light, so you can't really make out a lot of it. And then his voice is super echoey, so again, you only hear exactly what they wanted you to hear.
So he kind of just comes and goes, and that was it, or does he like stay?
I mean, it was a total tease, right? I mean,
Okay.
it didn't make any impact on the movie other than Bruce once again reassuring himself that he's right to take on Superman in case he needed one more thing.
Yeah.
But it was the best part.
Huh.
That was also a dream.
Was it really?
So he woke up from
I
a
don't
dream.
think it
from a dream.
was.
Really?
I think he woke up from the dream, he saw Flash, and then he kind of like snapped out of it, or the Speed Force closed, and then he thought that he was dreaming again because he
sounds
wouldn't
right.
understand that
Okay.
otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, cool. He woke up from a dream from another dream. Like,
Inception.
cool. I know. It's like, oh, here's my nod to someone who knows how to make good movies.
But here's the
Christopher
thing
Nolan.
about so many people who are complaining about that dream sequence. Number one, someone from like the Hollywood Reporter is not going to have, or from E, is not going to have any idea that Batman is having nightmare visions of parademons and fire pits.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, what the heck is with those bug people? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They like have no idea what that is. The other problem that I've heard people complain about, and I have some theories about it, is why the heck is Batman having apocalyptic visions of the future?
Yeah.
Do you have a...
So what are those theories?
Thank you for asking for us.
Yeah, I know. You look really excited to tell me.
There is a certain take on the New Gods of Apocalypse. And so for those of you who don't know, the New Gods are these creatures from outer space. The big bad of the DC universe. His name is
Thanos.
Darkseid. And he is a being of pure evil. He is ruler of a planet called Apocalypse, where he has enslaved everybody, and he's a super, super bad guy. And then there's the other aliens from another planet called New Genesis, and they are in this great cosmic war that's been going on forever. And Earth occasionally gets caught in the middle of it. On one take of that is a book called Final Crisis, written by Grant Morrison, in which the Darkseid and his other, evil new gods, they come down to Earth and they basically infect the minds of people on Earth, and to the point where, one man slowly becomes Darkseid and another person slowly becomes, Steppenwolf and some of these other new gods characters. They are beings of pure evil that we cannot really perceive or comprehend, with our, puny human minds. And so they take on human form by basically infecting humans, right?
Yeah.
And I think that what's going on is Batman's mind is starting to hear whispers from Apocalypse
The
that-
anti-life or something like that.
that Darkseid and his minions are coming.
Right.
I feel like that could be something Zack Snyder does because he's very into the little Easter egg thing, those deep cuts, like for Watchmen and 300. I feel like those are very pure examples or very good representations of the comic books.
Well, and they very clearly do have a plan.
Yeah.
They have a plan of like what they want to do with this movie universe and where they want to take it. Whether or not people are on board with it, some are and some aren't at that point. I think the people who are on board and the people who are looking forward to future installments got a really cool Easter egg scene here that only really the fans of the comic books are going to get. But nonetheless, I thought it was really cool.
So do you think Superman's evil in these visions because he's being taken over by Darkseid? I mean,
No.
that sounds plausible.
They kind of explain like Lois was killed and that drove him over the edge.
Okay, so it's more so like a injustice sort of take on Superman.
Based off what I got from it, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and it could have been both. It could have been that Lois was killed and that, left Superman open to manipulation or something like that. Who knows?
It's really the only thing to humanity. Lois is the only thing Superman has that's to humanity. Everyone else, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's kind of like saving people and getting hate for it.
I thought that was a really cool scene. I think it also kind of lends credence to Lex's whole motivation, where if he knows about Darkseid, which he obviously does from the end of the movie, because when he's in prison, he's kind of ranting about Darkseid. He
Yeah.
knows that these horrible things from outer space are on their way,
Now there was
which would make him also hate the only alien that's on Earth right now.
Why?
Well, because they're dangerous, right? They're coming from outer space. They're coming to kill us. He knows this. he's been having horrible visions of it, which is maybe driving him a little wacko, which might lend to his character being a little bit, on the eccentric side.
So now have you seen the deleted scene that went online? It's like 45 seconds.
I didn't see it, no.
You want me to tell you what happens?
Go for it.
So, it actually explains what your theory a lot, because people are like, oh, this explains everything. I'm like, really? So he's in his the Superman spaceship, right? Lex Luthor is, and the SWAT team's coming to arrest him. And then you see him, and there's a new god, and I don't know who it is, but he looks like the painting, that devil painting. It looks just like him, and then he basically dissolves and spurts out. But it's basically Lex was sitting there like kneeling in front of him, or like sitting in front of him, and there's like what are the boxes? Mother boxes?
Mother box, yeah.
There's mother box there and stuff, and then it just all dissolves and spurts out. It's pretty cool. And so if that's what he was seeing in those visions, then yeah, that would make a lot of sense. But that was when he's getting arrested, so therefore he already attacked Superman and all that stuff.
Okay.
So anyways, it's cool. You gotta check it out.
So
Cool.
is Lex Luthor hateful of Superman in a way because he's receiving these visions of like an apocalyptic future where Superman's evil?
We don't know that Lex is actually receiving visions.
Right.
I mean, but it would kind of give him added motivation other than, I hate anyone who's bigger or more powerful than me.
And I think that'd be kind of cool because it paint him more so like as a misunderstood good guy, which I kind of like.
I mean, wouldn't it be ironic, and it kind of is this way already, that the Justice League is being assembled by Lex Luthor?
Yeah.
Like Lex Luthor has all the videos on these different metahumans. So, Forrest, we also saw little video clips of The Flash, a quick little scene of him in a convenience store helping out the convenience store clerk who's getting held up.
Oh, yeah?
There's a quick little snippet of Aquaman, where you see a little undersea probe kind of going up to a shipwreck that's under the water. And you see these glowing eyes coming out from the water, and there's Aquaman. What was a little weird about that Aquaman scene is that it looked like he was holding his breath.
That, and he was like posing for like 30 seconds before he did anything.
Yeah.
He comes out, his hair's everywhere, he's just staring at it. And then he punches it and swims away really fast. So it's like, okay.
But then him like take off and swim super fast, that was pretty cool.
That was sweet.
So where are these visions coming from of these other metahumans?
These are not visions. These, when Bruce Wayne stole the information off Lex Luthor's computer, this is what it was. It was a file.
Lex was already gathering information on these people.
So there's Aquaman, Flash.
Cyborg.
Oh, they showed Cyborg in the movie?
That was sweet.
What happened?
Which is awesome because Miles Dyson from Cyberdyne from the Terminator 2 movies, he plays
His father.
Cyborg's father.
I could totally
And
see
he's the
that.
one who's trying to save his son. And so you see basically a guy up on a wall with half of his body missing. And then I think that's a mother box.
That was a mother box.
Yeah, a mother box is sitting right there. And he was able to fuse a mother box with his son, right?
So
and
it's like
and
the
that's
New
like the
52.
origin of Cyborg now.
Yeah, very similar to that. So it's cool though. Like as the mother box like goes off, then you just see Cyborg on the wall like screaming, "Ah!" And it's like it's literally half his body, like, no arm, and like from his torso up basically, and it's I don't know. He's like screaming.
It was cool looking. I liked all
Oh,
of
that
those
was
scenes.
sweet.
I think all of the little setup scenes that they did for Justice League were all great.
Yes.
Now, again, people who like us who read the books and who know the comics, they're going to pick up on that kind of stuff and enjoy it. The average fan or just the average moviegoer, I'm not sure how much they'll really appreciate from that kind of stuff. And frankly, I don't care.
Yeah, who cares?
So really quickly though, like those little moments were great, and I love that. But for me, there's no big moment in the movie. I already saw the Superman fighting. I didn't really like the fight with Doomsday. They already spoiled Wonder Woman, so it's like when I go there, all right, what's the big thing going to be? There was nothing big for me to like. Oh yeah, that's what I'm going to remember from this movie. Bathtub. So, but that's me personally. But all those little moments, I really did like. I thought that was really cool.
And for me, I think that's the reason why I'm giving it a thumbs up overall. Is there was a lot of other things in the movie, forgetting the fact that they really didn't know what to do with Superman in this movie.
Again.
Well, I really liked Man of Steel, and I thought they did a nice
too.
job with him. I think that Superman took a step backwards in this movie. But there were a lot of little moments in this movie that I thought were a lot of fun and that, kind of added to my enjoyment overall. And there were enough moments in there that made me smile.
Yeah.
To where I said, okay, I'm enjoying myself. I'm having fun.
So then, what do you think at the end when Superman dies?
Ah.
I think it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I think it was unnecessary. I think they already had that moment of, Superman and Oh yeah, it totally happened.
Yeah, he died.
We're spoiling it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, this gets me a little reminiscent of Transformers now.
I think it was nice in that little scene where he's saying goodbye to Lois, and then he goes after Doomsday, and gets him with the spear.
Yeah.
I think the fact of him dying, I don't know if they really needed it. I think they kind of like wanted to do it or feel like they had to do it because, well, if it's Doomsday, he's from the Death of Superman.
The problem with there's no emotional connection with Clark, so it's like, oh,
Yes,
okay,
that's true.
So how did he die?
he got stabbed.
By who?
Doomsday.
With what?
His bones.
Oh.
So I don't know. My guess.
one?
It's about as cool as it said. Oh, Wonder Woman cut off Doomsday's hand, and so he grew a bone in its place and stabbed him with his bone hand.
Nice.
Yeah.
So but this was like right after the fight with Batman, and so he also had Superman held the kryptonite spear, so he's
Okay.
probably weakened by that, and then he zoomed in really fast, stabbed Doomsday with it, and then he got his bone, and it's like when you're like already stabbed in like Game of Thrones, and they like push each other like more into it, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like he kind of like forced himself more into the bone of Doomsday as he's stabbing him, and
He pushed the spear out the back of Doomsday,
I
which
know.
I was thinking, well, wouldn't you want to leave it in? Wouldn't it do more damage to him that way
Right.
if you just leave it in there?
no.
Let it like mess with all of his like innards.
No.
Well, this kind of a little worrying for me.
Don't worry. It's
Well, I think the
it'll be
thing
back
is like
He's gonna
that
come
was the
back,
moment
sure,
that
but-
kind of like shook Batman, or could have shook Batman out of his like distrust and hatred towards Superman.
Yeah.
But he kind of already had that moment because they're moms. They're both named Martha.
Oh yeah, I
guys.
thought that was so funny when then okay, so this is the whole point. So Batman's above Superman, about to stab him, and then he's like, "Save Martha," and he's like, "Wait, what'd you say? Your mom's name's Martha, so is mine. Let's be friends."
Are they
But that's
really?
the thing. That's the part that humanizes
Yeah.
Superman to Bruce. That's the part that makes him realize that no, this person is a man just like me. And Batman, he couldn't save his own parents, but he has the chance to save Superman's mom. I thought that was
That was sweet, though.
that scene worked.
And
for
did
me.
he?
Yeah, he did.
Oh yeah, it was
That-
sweet, dude.
That sounds like a cool
Okay,
scene.
so this is I'm sure people like Batman Pierce hate this part. I loved it. Batman just goes in, starts killing people.
He kills people?
Yeah, man.
Batman?
He has no problem in this movie.
Oh, dude, it sounds like people are gonna hate this then because
Every Batman movie, he kills somebody.
Oh, man, no, he full on like okay, he didn't
he
like
kills people in every Batman movie.
Wait, so tell me what happened.
He didn't. Okay, so he killed like 5 people in this movie.
Nice.
One, it's like playing what's the newest Batman movie? Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Driving around the Batmobile, just like wailing on people and like hitting them with their. At one point, he goes through a building and like lands right on a car. Basically, it's like, dude, they're dead.
Nah, they're fine.
And then another one where he's like fight KG Beast. Was that KG
KG
Beast?
Beast,
He's
yeah.
fighting
He was in it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's fighting KG Beast, and he has a flamethrower. So then he shoots the bullet in his flame tank and it explodes. It's like, oh, he shot the tank. No, you full on killed him, dude.
So he's got guns and he kills people?
It wasn't
Yeah.
Batman that killed KG Beast. It was the flames
was
from the
the flame.
tank
Yeah,
that
it was
exploded.
physics.
There you go.
Physics.
Yeah,
Killed him.
physics.
No joke though. Then he's in the bat chopper or whatever, the bat plane. What am I calling it? What is it called? Bat plane?
The Batplane.
Whatever. And he just goes in like shooting all the sides of the building up. That part was sweet. But they have a really sweet Batman scene, and like he's fighting, and this one guy has a gun and like shoots Batman in the back of the head, but it's like all steel. I don't know. It's really cool.
He
I
uses
heard he,
grapple gun to like pierce a guy's like shoulder and then pull him towards him and everything.
Nice.
That was cool.
He sounds like a badass in this.
Oh,
Oh,
he
it's
is.
fantastic. I mean, all of the Batman stuff I enjoyed.
Oh, I loved it. Anytime, this is what Batman does now. Anytime like someone's committing a crime against like a child, he'll brand them. And
Oh, yeah?
Then in prison, they know like, oh, you harmed your child, and that person ends up dead.
There were some people who really had a problem with him branding. I didn't have a problem with that because again, this was a more like Alfred even makes a comment like, "Oh, really? You're doing this now?"
Yeah.
And Bruce was saying, "Well, yeah, we've always been criminals. Nothing's changed, you know."
That's cool.
But he's like being more brutal because feels like in his old age he's just kind of defeated.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And now like he's kind of like resorting to these like harsher tactics because he's angrier and he's older and he feels like frustrated.
Yeah, I agree.
So I enjoyed a lot of that kind of stuff and again the whole Martha mommy part that kind of worked for me.
Yeah.
That did work for me.
Really quick, I heard that in this movie, Batman tortures people. Is that
I think it's like the branding.
it's
Yeah.
the branding? Okay, that's cool.
He doesn't really like go into
That'd be
all that.
awesome. They're tied up, just like punching him. Tell us where he is. So
I mean,
okay.
I would have been okay with that too. I mean, again, with a lot of these characters, it may not be the interpretation that you expect going in, because your vision of Batman or your vision of Superman is pretty much the Batman or the Superman that you saw when you were 12 years old.
Yeah.
And you kind of stick to that and cling to that, and that typically is what happens.
That's true.
But just because you have a different kind of interpretation of these characters, I don't think necessarily makes it a bad thing. It might not be to a certain person's taste, but
yeah,
it still is a valid interpretation, I think.
Cool.
So to wrap this up, Forrest, what do you think about? Are you good on Batman v Superman, or would you like to go see it now?
You know what? I'd like to go see it. I kind of think it's cool how it's got all these metahumans and characters that you would only know from the comics. Like, I actually think KG Beast being in the movie for a little bit is actually really cool. Yeah. Like, I would never expect him to see him in any cinema. So that sounds pretty sweet to me. So
very cool.
I would like to go see it.
So like I said, overall, I think it has issues. I think they could have cut like 20 minutes of junk out. It would have been more impactful for me. Cody, you seem to be on board. You really like this?
It has its problems. They didn't know what to do with Superman, and that's unfortunate, but I think the rest of the movie surrounding it was all fantastic.
Awesome, guys. Well, that wraps up the very first episode of the Yo Bros podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, if you'd like to be part of this family, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, rate us on iTunes, check out our website, shoot us an email, all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for listening, and check us out next week.
See ya.
Bye-bye.